Cross-hatching is overlapping a series of lines at an alternating angle. On a very simple level, this is cross-hatching. Let's talk about the edges of cross-hatching. One approach that I like to use is kind of thinking of clusters of crosshatches as organic clouds, meaning I don't want to make something too boxy. I'd kind of rather have it have soft edges like a cloud. And the reason for this is we can then put another cloud next to it, and it's going to start to blend together. Then we have a nice soft transition. So the same goes when I'm doing hatching in the other direction. Here's the problem that I see sometimes. If you start to build your cross-hatching up in blocks, and what I mean is, see how I sort of have hard edges here, and although it's kind of subtle, when we look closely we can see sort of it's a cluster of little blocks. It's not seamless. So what I'm really talking about are the edges, and instead of letting it get too blocky, be a little bit more organic. Okay, so we see how we can bring together a bunch of clusters of cross-hatching. And we see that they're made out of two opposing angles. Sometimes we build up more angles though. And it makes it even darker. We could come in with another distinct angle and bring it down a little bit darker. So that's one thing that cross-hatching does for us. It gives us a spectrum of value. They don't all have to be straight parallel lines. The concepts are the same. Here I'm making rounded clusters. We've been learning to draw with sensitive marks. Let's say we were going to do cross-hatching. We wanted to do this angle and this angle. They're almost parallel angles. And for this one, let's say we wanted to do cross-hatches like this and this at these two angles. So what I'm hoping that you guys see is that here we can sort of see the sensitivity of the mark in a nice way because the angle of the mark isn't sort of congealing with the crosshatches. Over here, we start to lose a little bit of the direction, especially on the ends. If I make some of this darker, it's going to be a little bit more obvious, so I'll go ahead and do that. See how we almost lost this sensitive mark? And see how we can still see the mark here. So what happened here? When there's almost parallel lines, this is parallel to the mark, right? This is parallel, this would be almost parallel. Things tend to start to blend together. And this can be helpful sometimes, but it can also hurt us sometimes when we want to maintain a really sensitive line. When we have our drawn line and we do almost perpendicular angles, which is, this would be perpendicular. Then there's no blending in of this sensitive drawn line.